NavTech data is standard road network data used by mapping applications like Google Maps and Yahoo Maps. The same data is available in vZoom. NavTech tiles are stored separately for different states. These tiles are available from PTV America as version files and predefined linked data like speeds, types, lanes, etc., and also include territories and points of interest for areas in North America. Once you have a tile as a version file, it can simply be opened as any other version file and edited as usual. To import a T-model network, click File, then Import, and select T-model. In the T-model import dialog, select the applicable files in the Files tab. In the Parameters tab, first enter the number of zones in the network that is being imported. Next, select a system of units. Then select whether the loading link in T-model should be imported as vZoom connectors, or if the loading links should be imported as vZoom links. Enter a free flow value, T0, above which the turn may be closed to all transport systems. Then check if the type, capacity, and volume delay function should be replaced during import. In the Link Type Definition tab, either define the mapping of T-model link types, or class, to vZoom link type in detail by checking the user-defined option, or select a direct mapping to vZoom link types based on T-model link class without detailed specification of vZoom rank and vZoom type name. In the Node Type Definition, click the User-Defined tab if you wish to enter detailed specification for mapping each T-model node type to a vZoom node type. For example, if the T-model node class 14 toll plaza needs to be vZoom node type 90, enter this in the vZoom type number box. Once the data is mapped to appropriate places, click OK. If you wish to save the settings for this import, you may do so by clicking Save. If you wish to open this saved import setting or layout, you may do so by clicking Open and selecting the Import Setting file. All the import settings may be reset by clicking the Reset button. To import an ME2 network, click File, then Import, and select ME2. In the Files tab, select the Modes, Network, Turns, Vehicles, and Transit Lines files punched out of ME2. In the Units tab, select a unit, kilometers or miles for length, and a unit for coordinates, which will be kilometers, miles, or feet. Enter a factor where applicable in order to adjust the units. vZoom adopts the coordinates unaltered. The network scale is adjusted in order to reproduce the coordinate and length conditions correctly. In the Links tab, select and assign the appropriate characteristics for link capacity and speed from ME2 attributes from the drop-down menu to vZoom link attributes. In the Transportation Systems tab, select the transport system type. Initially, all ME2 transport systems that are read in from file modes are automatically allocated to vZoom transport system types. Click the Demand Matrices tab to import demand matrices from ME2 by browsing to the matrix file. The demand segments listed are created automatically by vZoom. A matrix may be imported separately using the vZoom matrix editor. The matrix editor is discussed in a later section in this tutorial. The Travel Time function, or TTF tab, allows the user to set a travel time function for transit links. The tag is disabled if the type of file has not been read in. For each entry, either a constant speed or any link attribute multiplied by a factor can be specified for line route item attribute METTF index, or UDA, in order to define the speed of each line route. Last, in the General tab, if the Create a Separate Node for each ME2 connector and connect it to the network by an additional link is not checked, Then ME2 centroids are just read in as zones. vZoom then generates a zone, and for each ME2 link, a connector. If the option is checked, vZoom generates a zone and a node for each ME2 centroid, as well as a connector that links the two. For all ME2 links from or to the ME2 centroid, vZoom generates links from or to the new node. If the Generate Both Line Directions option is checked, vZoom generates both directions of a line route on the basis of ME2 line data. If the option is not checked, then line data in only one direction is generated. Once all the data and options are set in the import dialog, the settings may be saved by clicking Save. These saved settings may be opened by clicking the Open button. Also, all the settings may be reset by clicking Reset. Click OK to start the import process. To import a cube or Tran plan network, click Scripts and then click Cube Importer. Select a shapefile file that contains node and zone data. Select an attribute from the shapefile, or SHP file, to map as node number in vZoom. If the zone number in the shapefile file is stored in a different attribute or field, then check Field and select the appropriate attribute that contains zone number. Otherwise, select Convention and enter the maximum node number allocated to a TAZ number. For example, if the first 200 nodes in the network represent zone centroids, then enter 200. In the Links menu, select the shapefile that contains link and connectors. Select the SHP file attribute for From Node and To Node. Check the Direction field if link entries are not only AB one-way links. In this case, specify the identifier AB or BA that represents a one-way by entering 1 in the text box, and 0 in both if 0 represents a link open in both directions. Check the Turns checkbox if you wish to import a TP plus turn penalty file. Check Transit if the model being imported contains transit line data. A format for the transit line may be selected using the drop-down menu, Tran Plan or TP plus format. The Transit Import utility can be used to read in transit line data additionally in case a version file is already open and only transit line data is to be added or imported into the existing version file. Select the appropriate system of units, coordinates, and scale factor, then click Start. To import a Trans Cad network, click Scripts and then click Cube Importer. The first part of the Cube Importer is a generalized SHP file importer. As a result, it can be used for importing either Cube or Trans Cad networks. Select a SHP file that contains node and zone data. Select an attribute from the SHP file to map as node number in vZoom, usually ID. If the zone number in the SHP file is stored in a different attribute or field, then check Field and select the appropriate attribute that contains zone number. Otherwise, select Convention and enter the maximum node number allocated to a TAZ number. For example, if the first 200 nodes in the network represent zone centroids, then enter 200. In the Links menu, select the shapefile that contains link and connectors. Select the SHP file attribute for From Node and To Node, usually From ID and To ID. Check the Direction field. Set both equals 0, A minus B equals 1, and B minus A equals minus 1. In the Trans Cad import, keep the Turns and Transit boxes unchecked. Select the appropriate system of units, coordinates, and scale factor. Usually, the default parameters will work fine. Then click Start. Once the network is imported, click File, then Save Version As, and save the network as a version file. In order to import the zone polygons, import the zone polygon shapefile exported out of Trans Cad, using File, then Import, then Shapefile. In the options, check Read Additionally, check Replace Polygons, Read as Zones, and set key column to ID. Click OK. To import a matrix from Trans Cad, first export a matrix in text format from Trans Cad. Then open the text file for editing in a standard text editor. Find and replace comma with a space. Add a header in the top called $on. Save this file with a name and MTX extension. In VZoom, go to Demand, then Matrices. Click Create to create an empty matrix. Now, select the matrix and click Open from File. Select the MTX file saved in the previous step and click Open. The matrix file will be read into the empty matrix. Click Edit to check the values. Save this version file.